The numbers told the story. They always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Dustin Swedelson filling in for Gil Alexander this week on a numbers game. He is Kelley Bydlon. At Kelley Bydlon, you can find him on X. It's very easy to search for his name. I'm Dustin Swedelson again, at Dustin Swedelson on X. That is probably a little bit more difficult to spell out.
No, they're both very easy if you know how to spell our names.
Yeah, that's the difficult part. Now, I'll answer to Swedelson. I even answer to Justin from time to time.
Ooh, I thought you were Swedelson for like the first, like before we had ever met. I thought you were Dustin Swedelson for like a year and a half.
Yeah, whenever I do like interviews on podcasts or
is that the go-to?
Radio shows, they call me Swedelson, and I am so non-confrontational, I don't correct them.
Yeah, I get Bydlon all the time.
In fact, I do a bi-weekly spot with someone, and he and I go back like 8 years. He calls me Swedelson, and I still haven't corrected him.
All right, like at some point, man.
It's like
at some point you might need to.
I know. It's now
the
to me. It's
too long now. It's too awkward now.
I've gone too far. I just have to
let it go too
it.
far.
I might have to legally change my name to Swedelson because of this bi-weekly hit I do. That's where I'm at.
That's great.
Yeah. So we get tweets, by the way. That's why I brought all that up. And Jesse Welch, who chimes in, I'm on Damon Williams out of Washington, around 50-1 for Heisman. I have a guy that we're going to talk about out of the ACC. I just think the number, situation, coaching spot, coaching staff, results from him, results from them as they come together. It's a good play for Heisman. You know, Damon Williams Jr. out of Washington, there was a point in the offseason where he flirted with leaving. And a lot of people wonder if that disrupts the locker room. I heard Jed Fish talk about it on a podcast last week. I don't think it's going to be an issue for the kid from the Huskies. He showed something. He's a gutsy quarterback. I like the way he plays. And I think that they have talent around him. And Jed Fish is a guy who maximizes the quarterback position with his experience doing that, even at the NFL level. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if Washington's going to be good enough. That's my only concern with Williams. But I love the player. I love him as someone to bet on, specifically as an underdog. I just don't know if the team's going to be good enough to get that type of focus to win this award, because in a world of haves and have-nots, and I hate being the guy saying this because I'm the long shot guy. I like going deep down the board. I like to believe that someone from a school we're not thinking about can win it. It feels like it's going to come from one of these playoff teams. It's going to be hard, even though Travis Hunter a couple years ago, you're going to have to play both ways, make an impact on special teams,
right.
Be that much of a unicorn if you're going to win the award these days.
I guess I'm a little surprised, not that it's a huge number, but I'm a little surprised Trinidad Chambliss is as far down the board as he is.
Well, it depends where you look. Where are you looking right now? What's the number?
DraftKings, he's 13-1, but he's like 7th on the board.
Yeah. When you factor in experience for Trinidad Chambliss, because remember, he had to petition to stay in college. He had to petition to stay.
I remember.
And he has tons of experience in Division II. He won a national title at Ferris State. He took down my Valdosta State Blazers, I believe, in doing that in Division II. And then the way he looked in the playoffs, the problem becomes he's got a whole new offensive, staff here. He lost Kiffin. He lost Weiss, his offensive coordinator. Can he do it with what remains on that Ole Miss staff? That's what you have to worry about. But there's a chance his legs just kind of are an equalizer.
Right, yeah.
And he just makes it happen. Is Ole Miss going to be good, though? That's also plays a role in this. I don't love having to factor that in, but at some point you're wrong enough times over and over again betting into this market, thinking that a player with crazy stats can win it versus a player with good stats on a great team is more likely.
Yeah.
I've been wrong so many times. I'm sure this is the year where they go, well, you know what? This player on a 500 team's putting up historical numbers. He's the way to look.
I'll tell you, just looking at the board, I could be talked into Avery Johnson at 80-1.
Well, don't do that because Circa has 125-1.
Okay, or 125.
And by the way, I say that as someone who's bet Avery Johnson every single year and has not come close.
Okay, I'd be the same guy. I've only bet him once, but you watch some of those games and you're like, Heisman guy right here.
Here's the Avery Johnson case. One, experience coming back to Kansas State. Colin Klein comes in, former quarterback for the Wildcats, who just maximized using Marcel Reed. Also helped recruit Avery Johnson to K-State when he was there on the staff. So there's familiarity with the player, familiarity with the dual threat guy. Colin Klein was a pretty mobile quarterback as well. My only concern is it's the first year for Klein ever being a head coach. How much of a role does he have with the quarterback? He has so much more on his plate now. But Avery Johnson, I'm going to bet it. It's one of those bets that I tell you about all the time where I've bet it so many times that, like Murakami.
FOMO, man. You got to keep doing it.
I bet it so many, and at 125 to 1, all right, I'll do a quarter of a unit on that. If I'm right, I'll be real happy. Like,
I see one other name on this odds board I really hope someone brings up as liking for a Heisman bet over the next month or so before we start the season, couple months. Hank Bachmeier's brother, Bear Bachmeier.
Okay.
Bear Bachmeier over
Kelley,
at BYU.
Kelley, you are speaking my language. Okay. I wasn't planning on getting into this.
We're high on the Bear?
60 to 1 out there. He started as a true freshman a year ago. Wasn't supposed to. Jake Retzlaff was forced to be in there.
Right.
He's a dual threat. What does that mean? You get down to the red zone. Bear Bachmeier's calling his own number, right? He's going to throw touchdowns. He's going to run for touchdowns. He's a quarterback who's not afraid of physicality and taking a hit, which that could go two ways. You can knock yourself out of a game. But I think BYU, the second shot on the board to win the Big 12 around 6 to 1, I think they're going to do it. I don't understand the love for Texas Tech.
Okay.
I think BYU is as good, if not better. They returned Bachmeier at quarterback, LJ Martin at running back. That's a lot of experience, a lot of production. But I think Bachmeier is a young player getting better. He's around 60 to 1 at some shops right now. He is one of my favorite of the longer shots to win the Heisman.
61 at DraftKings. Yeah, 12-2 last year, 14 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 11 touchdowns on the ground with 527 yards. Yep.
All right. Well, before we get into Win Total Wednesday, I want to run this by you just because I teased it before the break. That's NBA Rookie of the Year.
Okay. And
we touched on it early in the show, man, but Caleb Wilson's starting to really jump out as someone you have to consider. Yesterday in the Summer League for the Bulls, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 24 minutes against Washington. You have to remember this kid was injured last year, missed most of the season most of the season, I'd say, for North Carolina.
Yeah.
And now he comes in to a Chicago Bulls situation where he is such a good fit for what they need. They have Josh Giddey there, right? A facilitator, someone who can make him look good. They need a finisher. Doesn't it feel like Caleb Wilson? We're going to do it all year. Caleb Williams, Caleb Wilson.
We will. Yep.
I just think he's going to get such volume opportunities for scoring where Darren Peterson in Utah, there's a lot of mouths to feed. Markkanen, Jaren Jackson, Keontae George, Washington with A.J. DeBonsta, a lot of mouths to feed, right? You've got Trae Young, Anthony Davis, a bunch of other guys. Caleb Wilson might be the go-to scorer year one for the Bulls. That should impact his numbers in the race, right?
It should. And I think I was most curious to see how he was going to play in Summer League just because out of sight, out of mind, right? It was a little surprising to me that he was kind of just slotted in, right, all season long with him being injured. Like that whole back end of the college basketball season and NBA season, it was, we know who the top three are. And we really know who the 4th overall pick is. I was kind of shocked that we were all so sure of that when it was a guy we hadn't really seen play. And then he goes 4 overall to the Bulls. I like a lot of the points you're making. I think he's been awesome in Summer League. It's been great to see him playing very well.
He's 5 to 1 though now, from 9 to 1 to 5 to 1.
This was what I'd say. The odds where the odds are at for Rookie of the Year, and good luck finding him.
Yeah, FanDuel made it very hard to find it. DraftKings, I can't find it on their page. Not to call anyone out specifically, but you want us to bet on these things. You want us to be stupid enough to bet it this far out. You got to make it a little bit easier to find.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So the odds have been shifting. I think we got to clump about 5 guys, right? Because Darius Acuff's not that far off either.
Peterson 3 to 1, Boozer 3 to 1, DeBonsta 4 to 1, Caleb Wilson 5 to 1. It's no longer a value play anymore.
I agree. I agree, and the point I was going to bring up, the Bulls. I also think we need to see how this team. I wouldn't bet that preseason. I think you need to wait and see how this Bulls team comes out and play because there is going to be heavy emphasis on getting Buzelis and Giddey a lot of usage. So this is, I think unfortunately there's a possibility that he falls into that same kind of conversation as the Wizards and the Jazz. Where I think you're making great points for DeBanza and Peterson. I'm not interested in betting either one of those guys either, even though they probably are the 2 best rookies in this class. The usage rates are just not going to be high enough. I really think there's a good chance that Cameron Boozer just backs his way into this award. I don't want back his way in is a bad way to say it.
No. I think that you're onto something here because I think for Boozer, situation like Wilson, right? He's going to be a focal point, and let's put some respect on his name. His numbers are comparable to Cooper Flagg at Duke, actually better than Cooper Flagg at Duke. And look what Cooper Flagg did year 1 in the NBA.
Yep.
Across the board. Mm-hmm. He's going to do everything.
And this is a similar situation, right? Think about, maybe we're not Oh, God, I don't want to go down this road again. Maybe we're not fully stat chasing like the Mavericks so obviously are down the stretch with Cooper Flagg to get him a Rookie of the Year award as my blood boils for still losing Con Knipple. Maybe we're not in that same situation, but it's the similar situation of who else are the Grizzlies trying to work it? This is the future. You start with the future right now and you build on that and you get him the ball as much as humanly possible. I think there's a good chance that that's the same situation with Caleb Wilson and the Bulls. But like Giddy loves having the ball. They want Modest Buzelis to continue to grow and develop.
Norman Powell's there now.
And Norman Powell's there now. So like I think there's more. They're under the radar a little bit more mouths to feed than I think most people realize.
Yeah, at this point, and you guys know me at this point of my run here at VSiN, I like to find something to fire on. I don't know if I can touch any of these guys. Maybe early in the year, if one gets off to a slow start, you consider getting that. But you're not going to feel great about it. At this point, the only value on the board is Yaxel Lendenborg at 20-1. He's like a 23-year-old rookie. How does that normally work out?
Right, exactly.
Also, he plays it on a team with Steph Curry. He's going to take a ton of shots.
I'm just going to bring up I want to see what the Kings do the rest of the summer here. Like, I think there's still a chance that Sabonis gets moved at some point. If he's gone, and it's a lot, Darius Acuff, it could be a lot of touches for Darius Acuff. And while he might not be, I don't believe in him long-term with some of the offensive skills he's got a lot of. Defensively, there were some quotes from NBA front office guys during the season that should terrify Kings fans out there about how bad he is defensively. But he could get up a lot of shots this season.
Breaking news from Major League Baseball, a contender in the National League trying to add to their arsenal of arms. We'll tell you who that is, how it impacts the odds next on A Numbers Game.
You're here because you want an edge. That's what separates listeners from winners. But let's be real, mindset alone doesn't get bets home. Pros win because they've got the tools, the data, and the discipline. And now so can you. VSiN Pro gives you access to the same real-time insights the sharps use. No secrets, no fluff, just actionable info that moves markets. Tap the link and see why serious bettors are turning knowledge into profit with VSiN Pro. On A Numbers Game, the right data changes everything, and the data behind Shopify is hard to argue with. Millions of businesses worldwide run on it, including our own VSiN store. When we launched, Shopify's templates and AI tools got us live fast. Professional looking from day one. No tech background needed. Shopify checkout converts more customers and makes it easy for returning fans to come back and buy again in a single click. Shopify's built-in AI assistant Sidekick is there whenever you need help, building, troubleshooting, or just figuring out your next move. Check out what we built at vsin.com/store. Then go build something of your own. All you need is the idea. Shopify handles the rest. Start your free trial at shopify.com/vsin. That's shopify.com/vsin. Shopify.com/vsin.
A Numbers Game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Back on A Numbers Game. That's Kelley Bydlon. I'm Dustin Swedelson. It is VSiN, the sports betting network. Thanks for hanging out with us here. Sirius XM channel 158, YouTube TV, the VSiN Watch app, and radio affiliates across the United States of God bless America. America.
Game Plus, Canada.
Shout out to Ray Charles, still getting it done.
That was okay. You and I talked about this a little bit pre-show. First of all, do you think everybody, like, that was for us, right? Like our exact age range, like the Sandlot, like throwback, call back to that, right? It was great. I felt like it was a little too, like the child actors that were needed to play this out felt like a little over the top. Like, just get some kids out of the stands.
I have a question though.
What's up?
Because I watched it on my phone. I wasn't really zoomed in. Ray Charles has been dead for like 20-something years.
Yeah.
But they just played the clip.
They just played a video.
Played a song.
Yeah.
Was it a hologram or was it Ray Charles?
No. It was like an old video.
It was okay. It was an old video.
They didn't really linger on. I didn't know
if they were trying to convince us it was like him and reincarnated out there.
Yeah, I don't get me wrong. When I first saw it, I kind of had that similar reaction.
I went, he's dead.
Yes,
like definitely dead. Like no, like I remember him dying.
Yeah, there was that. There was that. But then, like, they're making all the players stand out there and hold sparklers. Like, I thought that was a little forced too.
Yo, as a kid, I was terrified of sparklers.
Really? Like, they're the most boring thing on the planet.
I thought I was going to hold on to it so long because I'd heard stories about people blowing their hands off with real fireworks.
Like something was going to happen.
So I thought I was going to get that in my hand. I was burn my hand off.
Man, I don't even know. Are those things even powerful enough to singe your skin if they burn all the way down?
Probably about that.
Just like a little bit. Yeah.
We do have breaking news out of Major League Baseball. This coming in via Brian McTaggart, who covers the Houston Astros for MLB.com. Houston is trading Lance McCullers over to the Milwaukee Brewers, and see, this feels like the tea leaves of something might be a little bit bigger with Jacob Mizorowski. He's dealing with arm fatigue. He's never thrown this many innings before as we get towards a pennant push for the Brewers here. And you also have Brandon Woodruff, who's been on and off the IL all season long. They're going to buy low on McCullers. And when Milwaukee looks to acquire someone, it's because they believe that they can get more out of them than that player has been. Now, with McCullers recently, it's not been about ability. It's about being able to stay on the field. It's availability, because you go back in his career, he was a really productive starter. I'm just going to grab from 2015 to 2022. This is a guy who pitched to a 3.48 ERA during that span. He threw around 190 innings per 162. His ERA, as I mentioned, 3.48 in that span. The strikeouts at 211. So more than a strikeout per inning. The problem is, didn't play 2023, didn't play 2024, 2025, limited to 16 games, 13 starts, and a 6.51 ERA. And this year, limited to 8 starts with a 6.86 ERA. He hasn't been healthy. If Milwaukee has some elixir to get it out of him, to keep him on the field, maybe they can polish him off and turn him into the dude that he was in the past when he was a part of the Astros, when they won a World Series in 2017. And oh, by the way, Jose Altuve is now the only member of that 2017 World Series team. I guess Correa is still there as well. Those would be the two
came
players.
Back, right?
Yeah. He left and came back. But yeah, you get my point. Those would be the two guys. But McCullers going to Milwaukee, it intrigues me, just because if the Brewer, it's like the Rays. If the Rays believe in a Cedric Mullins, if they believe in a Griffin Jacks or a Steven Matz or a Nick Martinez, I'd be concerned if I'm a former GM who had those guys of looking dumb because they're going to turn them into something. But I think for Houston, it just kind of ran its course, and they wanted to get something for him. And we'll see if he makes an impact on the Brewers. I'm intrigued by what he can be.
I wonder if it means more. Does this mean more about McCullers or Mizorowski, like you're talking about? You know, are you that sold on McCullers? You just making a move because you feel like you have to make a move? Yeah,
I just think, it's an arms race, and if you're going to have an injury late in the year, you'd rather have as many arms as possible. I think that's why Pittsburgh's scary. That's why Pittsburgh should be a team that people consider right now. I think 50-1 to win the NL. Do I think they're as good as the Dodgers? Obviously not. But if other teams, just with the attrition of a baseball season over 162, just start losing arms left and right, well, Pittsburgh's throwing guys in their bullpen like Majemski, and they've got Ashcraft, who's emerged as an ace, where they're going to have one or two of those guys in the playoffs coming out of the bullpen, and then they can withstand injuries a little bit differently than some other teams could.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, we get tweets at VSiN Live, at Kelley Bydlon, at Dustin Swedelson. Sean Fox plays writes in, okay, Gill's replacement. Do they exhale? This is the World Cup final. Do teams exhale when they make the Super Bowl? It's one of the this is one historic quote that sums that up. And then I don't know what STMT means, but it feels like it's mean. And he goes on to say it's one of the Billy Madison quotes, one of the idiotic ramblings I've ever heard, blah, 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 blah. All right, Sean Fox plays. Here's what I want you to wrap your little brain around, is that they just took down mighty France, and they're human beings. And France was the favorite, and France was a favorite above them to win this tournament from the jump. There is an element of a human being who gets so up for one game to take down one opponent that there is a chance that they go, we've got it. We took advantage of our opportunity. We got past the team that we weren't expected to beat. And therefore, on the other end, things could be a little bit tricky. It's a question I asked. I did not say it happens. But you have to ask the question when you're trying to figure out what the mentality of these teams is going to be when we're at a critical point of this. Sure, you'd think that they take it seriously. I'm not saying that it's intentional where they go, we're better than Argentina, we're better than England. It's that we just gave so much emotion to the matchup with France. Can we repeat that intensity back-to-back appearances? That's all I'm saying here.
Love it.
All right, Win Total Wednesday, let's do it.
Are the guys looking over or under? It's another edition of Win Total Wednesday on A Numbers Game.
You know, WTW.
WTW.
It's not an acronym I'm familiar with. I'm more familiar with WOW, and people will remember that from back in the day, Opie and Anthony. It's going to be a little bit different here. I'll keep my shirt on this time, I promise. When it comes to win totals in the NBA, now's the time, right, to pounce? Now's the time.
They're just out. DraftKings released them yesterday. I think FanDuel's kind of followed suit here this morning. You know, when I was trying to find Rookie of the Year last segment on FanDuel, it looks like most of theirs are up now, too.
When you're attacking this, though, the first thing that jumps out to me is kind of what we're seeing with the way these rosters are being constructed right now in this offseason. There is no longer teams just straight up tanking. It is no longer something that you greatly benefit from. And I'm looking at the Eastern Conference odds that we have right here. The Knicks have the highest win total at 53.5. We understand why. They're the reigning champions. They're also, you know, a team that goes for it, that doesn't do a lot of load management. But coming off a title, I wonder if that changes this year for them. That feels like a pretty high number, but I do anticipate them getting there.
Okay. I mean, real quick, top of the board, Knicks, pretty high number. Dustin, I wouldn't be betting under, though. This is when you're talking about we were talking about teams before, right, that are built for the regular season versus the postseason. Hell of a postseason run by the Knicks, but to me, this is a very well-constructed regular season roster, too.
Well, let's go from the top of the board to the bottom of the board.
Yeah.
The Brooklyn Nets win total is 18.5. We still play 82 games, right?
Yeah,
we still play 82.
We sure do.
18.5. They don't have their first round pick. So even if they wanted to tank, they're not. Mm-hmm. They're going for it. Now, whether you believe this group is capable of winning 19 games and going for it, that remains to be seen, because they've drafted like 7 guards over the last 2 years.
Right, they have. And old Igor Demin, and I know I'm screwing up his name, it's pronounced fancier than that. He had a hell of a summer league so far. There's big expectations for him. They had 5 first-round picks last year. Remember that?
Yes.
And then Julius Randle got added to this team.
Which is the trade that I still don't understand.
Yeah, me either. Really.
But hold on, they won 20 games this past year. Here's the problem. They won 20 games in a year where so many other teams were tanking. The 18.5 number tells me the sports book is saying all these other teams that they beat, not all, but some that they beat in their 20 wins on the season, those teams are going to be trying more. So those opportunities may not be there. That's why initially I thought, well, they're not tanking. Let me go over. Now I think we're being tricked. I think the under might actually be the play on the Nets.
No. Glad you brought up that point. Just less tanking teams than what we knew at this point last year about last season, right? We knew there was 4 or 5 teams that were going to be tanking hardcore. You know, you don't have that this season. So that's a great point by you. It would still be over or nothing for me, though. There's no incentive for them to go out there and lose a bunch of games. Right now, you've got Michael Porter Jr. and Julius Randle on the roster. I don't know if that's what the roster looks like at the end of the season, but for the beginning of the season, 18.5 too low. I don't think it's going to be a bet for me, but that's where I'd lean that one. The Bucks, I think they're the first team where I'm like, man, it's going to be a long season for Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think the only way you can look is under. What about the Wizards? They won 17 games last year. The roster couldn't be more different. Win total's 39.5. Even if it's not Anthony Davis, it's the addition of Young, it's the addition of DeBansta. Mm-hmm. Doesn't that get you close to that number?
So this what's tough. When we go Wizards, Hornets, Magic, Pacers, any of those teams on up, it is very easy to talk yourself into an over at this point in the year on any of these teams. Eastern Conference is flat out going to be better next season, right? It is deeper. There are better teams at the top. You got to be a little careful with that, because there's a lot of overs that I kind of circled initially on this release.
Well, and that number on the Hawks is really, really sharp to me. They won 46 games last year, but remember down the stretch, they beat so many teams that were either bad or tanking and not caring. I think the Hawks will be better, but I don't know what that looks like in terms of the exact win total. I think we're in a very weird situation with the NBA where a lot of our data the last few years, it's not as projectable into this season with the tweaks they did on all the tanking. $30 million guaranteed prizes, cash in this football season in Las Vegas with 3 Circa Sports contests, $1,000, all with no rake. Every dollar stays in the prize pool. Circa Million, 18 weeks, 128 ways to win. Circa Survivor, Grandissimo, $100,000 entry. Visit circasports.com for more details.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Dustin Swedelson filling in for Gil Alexander all week long. It is a numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Sirius XM channel 158, YouTube TV, the VSiN Watch app, and radio affiliates across the United States of God bless America. And we've got the World Cup semifinals tonight. A lot happening in sports in case you missed it. Milwaukee, the Brewers have traded for Lance McCullers. The American League won the All-Star game last night. LeBron James is still a free agent. And one of the teams playing today is going to go for a championship in the World Cup against Spain. We will break all that down now, as he's Kelley Bydlon, always here on A&G. And now joining us in studio, VSiN soccer analyst. That is your new title here. I don't care about the other title. It is Alex Blowers. Alex, the write-ups on the website have been spectacular.
Thank you.
You're doing an awesome job. I appreciate you saw Saturday. I told you on the Norway-England game, both teams to score with
England to advance.
I got plus 152 on that.
Yeah.
And then once England went down, I took them to advance it a little bit over even money. So it was a very profitable Saturday. I want to thank you for that.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Now, your boys are in battle today with Argentina, which should be a fascinating matchup. Before we get to that, let's talk about who they're going to face first, and that's Spain. Spain, with the takedown of France, they advanced to the final. I believed in France a lot.
Me too.
I thought France was by far the best team. When you see the way that Spain plays and the way that France plays, how was Spain able to take them down yesterday?
I think you read my articles on the website about France. One of my recurring themes talking about France was Didier Deschamps going to a 4-3-3 in the latter stages, trying to get more control, because with the four attackers on the pitch, they really lacked in central midfield with Rabiot and Tchouaméni, who played yesterday. He stuck to his 4-2-3-1, four attackers on the pitch, and you saw Spain absolutely dominate the midfield there. They weren't really troubled. France couldn't keep going, couldn't get anything going, and Spain just rolled to victory.
All right, Alex, did you end up being more impressed with Spain than you thought you would be if they won that game? Or if they won that game, is that how it was going to play out yesterday?
I think I was more disappointed in France.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Deschamps didn't really make the changes he could have. He could have brought on Kone, gone free in midfield. Could have been brought on Walt Zemery, who plays for PSG. He's been excellent in midfield for him this year. So just disappointed with France overall.
Me too.
Very obviously.
Much.
You had the future. My go-to whenever anything French falls apart in a big situation, I go, that's because they didn't have us to bail them out like World War II. You're from England. Do you guys make the same jokes about France being weak like that?
We do, yeah.
Okay, so it's a worldwide thing.
It's a known thing, yeah.
Yeah. So everyone feels the same way. But that's the one way we're all united. We can all make fun of the French when they come up short here. Winston Churchill's not walking through that door to bail you out this time around if you're the French. Now, there was a controversial play in that match yesterday where there was a penalty called. It resulted in the first goal being scored. When you saw the way it went down, a player for France was trying to clear the zone, trying to kick it. Didn't see that there was a player for Spain coming down offensively to go after that ball. Winds up kicking him, penalty scored. I see a lot of American soccer fans complaining about the call. Was it the right call to call a penalty there?
100%. I think the issue there is a lot of discourse online was they were talking about Luca Digne not knowing he was there. That's the problem. Not knowing he's not there. He should be aware of his surroundings. And the way the ball came down, how long it took for him to take a wild swing at it. Especially against Jamal as well. The referees are always going to give that. I think the discourse about it as well is maybe just the inconsistency we've seen in this World Cup. I know Jed Spence against Norway, he won a penalty. I'd say they're the same, similar situations there where he's got in front of the player, been kicked. That went to VAR for Jed Spence, was overturned. Kudus Jamal, no VAR review, straight penalty, and Spain scored, went on to win.
Alex, as we start looking ahead, we got the second semifinal today. About the updated futures board, you got Spain minus 156, England 3-1, Argentina 4-1. Whoever advances today, is there one of these teams that gives Spain more of a problem than the other?
Yeah, we will.
We would be England. We would be
I don't know if you
England.
can tell through the accent. That's not an Argentinian accent, just to be clear here. All right, talk about we. Let's
talk about us.
Let's dissect this just from a bit. Let's pull back. England hasn't been to a World Cup final since '66.
Yeah.
That's when they last won. And every single year, it's the hope for the glory coming back home. It's coming home. It's coming. What would it mean to you to see them win a World Cup?
It's the Holy Grail. You know, it's the
Bigger than anything.
Yeah, the one thing in my sport and life, if I could see anything, it'd be England to lift the World Cup. So I think we are the best equipped we've ever been to get there. I think if you look at us through this tournament, the way we've played, it's not only we've had moments where we've not been at our best, but our mentality, our ability to go 1-0 down to Dr. Congo, for us to keep on, even how well their goalkeeper played in the first half, for us to go 1-0 down, but still come out second half, continue attacking until we got our breakthrough to go on to win that. To go to the Azteca, play against Mexico, all the discourse around that about how frightening the Azteca is, the altitude. We still went there with a better side, went down to 10 men with 35 minutes left and still managed to hold on. And then against Norway as well, went 1-0 down to a fluke goal. Let's be fair here. Like, it was a cross that ended up going in off the post.
Yeah. It meant to be a cross to Erling Haaland. I was standing right next to this guy watching it. It was like, that meant to be a pass and it went in. But then, you know, whatever. It was a little chippy with the Erling Haaland goal coming back, whatever, you know. How do you feel about ruining the World Cup for every neutral who was rooting for Norway?
It's life, innit?
But you know what? At the same point in time, it is about star power, and you can't ask for more than this. You have England, which you just mentioned, what it means to you, what it means to the country for them to win today. They're minus 120 to advance against Argentina, who's even money. But it's also about superstars, right? Bellingham emerging. You obviously have Harry Kane, who's been there for such a long time. Messi, his final World Cup on the other side. When we talk about star power, this is what we're looking for here. I want to compare and contrast these two teams to what we saw yesterday, though. To me, Spain is not overly athletic. Spain didn't jump off the page with athletes to me, but they play as a team. They play as a unit, and that's how they're able to advance and beat France. It feels like these two teams we're going to watch later today, Alex, they rely on individuals and superstardom to take over. Do you think that's a fair assessment or no?
Yeah, I think so in the knockout rounds. I think Jude Bellingham's been the star for England the last two. Harry Kane was the star against Dr. Congo. And then we have Messi and Alvarez as well, who have really shone for Argentina in their knockout games. But going into this game, I actually have England to win, money line. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
But
I'm shocked.
I have good reasons for it. First thing I'll do is I'll talk about they were lucky against Switzerland, Argentina. Like, they scored in the 10th minute. I think their next shot on target wasn't until like the 9th minute of extra time, in the 99th minute.
I mean, it's been some sloppy wins for Argentina overall,
It has
right?
been, yeah.
This has been a sloppy road to the semifinals. Not what we expected from an Argentina team.
No,
right?
yeah, they shouldn't have lost. The Cape Verde performance was terrible. Egypt as well, they were lucky. But digging into the numbers, the reason why I see that is because they're averaging, on Sunday night, they're averaging like 63.4 kilometers a game. That's been updated now to 79.5 kilometers. They're averaging per game distance covered on SofaScore.
It's like a lot of miles.
Yeah.
Ranked 48th. No, they're ranked 48th. They're the worst team in the tournament.
Okay.
And the reason you got Cape Verde, who are ranked first, doing 108, that's the reason Cape Verde gave them so much trouble, is they work harder, they cover more distance. And looking at England, we cover 104.8 kilometers a game we average. We're younger, we're fitter. Our average age of our team is 26 and a half years. Theirs is 30 years old. We're in the indoor stadium, air conditioned.
No more humidity.
Exactly. I feel that with our physicality, age on our side, and our stars, we can win this game in 90 minutes.
All right, the write-up over at VSiN.com Alex threw up there today is tremendous. The details, the Declan Rice situation, what's going to happen with Kwanzaa, who no longer with a suspension here in this game. You want to read that, check it out at VSiN.com. The official play, though, Alex, what is it going to be?
England money line. I think it was plus 160 on Sunday night. I'm not sure what the number is now, but I highly recommend that. And I was looking this morning, England minus 1.5 goals is plus 450. I saw on Caesars. I'm going to put a little money on that as well.
Would you think about doing anything with England to win the whole thing? You could still get 3-1. It was like, I think I heard JVT earlier this morning on VSiN by the Book say he has like plus 475, and it's only from a couple weeks ago.
I think you have to see how we get through this game. I think we can win in 90 minutes. I think Argentina are going to try and slow the game down. I think they're going to try and drag us down to their level. They're going to foul. They're going to try and make it stop-start. But if we can get through this in 90 minutes, if we can play well, if they take us to extra time, if we get a player sent off, with the history and everything, how chippy it can be, I would hold off on that. I would just bet on England to money line here, and then let's see how we get and what condition we're in the final.
Reevaluate when you see France. And the total's been jumping out to me all week here, or the past few days. 2.5 over plus 140. I mean, you go and look at these game logs with how these teams have played so far. You'll see a lot of overs over this number from both of them. Where do you come down on this total? Is this a little bit of a tricking us into playing this over?
15 seconds.
Yeah, I think so. No, actually, no, I don't. I think there'll be goals in this game.
Okay.
And I think we can roll them.
Okay.
Well, I hope you get it. I hope it comes home because I might just document your celebration here if England wins the World Cup. Write-up's been awesome. Check him out over at VSiN.com. He's Alex Blowers. We'll do more with the NBA when we return on a numbers game.
On a numbers game, the right data changes everything, and the data behind Shopify is hard to argue with. Millions of businesses worldwide run on it, including our own VSiN store. When we launched, Shopify's templates and AI tools got us live fast. Professional looking from day one. No tech background needed. Shopify checkout converts more customers and makes it easy for returning fans to come back and buy again in a single click. Shopify's built-in AI assistant Sidekick is there whenever you need help, building, troubleshooting, or just figuring out your next move. Check out what we built at vsin.com/store. Then go build something of your own. All you need is the idea. Shopify handles the rest. Start your free trial at shopify.com/vsin. That's shopify.com/vsin. Shopify.com/vsin.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Cruising along. It is a Wednesday morning, July the 15th. Be with you and all. I'm Dustin Swedelson. That is Kelley Bydlon at Dustin Swedelson, at Kelley Bydlon, at VSiN Live. We got some tweets coming in. We're still trying to put together the exacta for the MLB future on the World Series. The Phillies are locked in on one side. Who should be the AL team? More importantly, on social media, I asked the journalistic, hard-hitting questions here at VSiN. Breakfast. I'm doing the morning show this week. I'm waking up early. And I'm a breakfast guy to begin with, although I'm not really against any of the meals. If you just look at your shot right now, YouTube TV and VSiN Watch app.
Breakfast guy.
I eat breakfast all day. I'll eat eggs every single meal if I want to. I love eggs. But, I got to thinking on my way in that breakfast, if you're going to go with the savory kind, if you're not a child, as we've touched on, it's eggs, it's a some sort of meat, and it's a carbohydrate.
Right.
Whether that's a plate, whether that's it put together on a sandwich, or that's a burrito, you can debate which is the best way to consume it. And we're going to start there with our next guest. He is Nick Whalen.
Ooh.
He is the co-host of Prop Points, which you can catch right after this program on VSiN at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And did I do the time conversion right? 10 to 1?
Yeah.
Yep. Nailed it. And Nick Whalen joins us now right now. RotoWire senior analyst at Whalen on X. So when you're going breakfast, plan of attack, is it a breakfast plate? Is it a sandwich? Or is it a burrito?
Mm-hmm. So for most of my life, guys, it would have been a bowl of cereal. I was a huge supporter of cereal through middle school, high school, even in college. Freshman year in my dorm room, I actually got like one of those cereal dispensers that you would see at a hotel. Awesome, so I would have like 3 different cereal options. You just twist the knob and be able to fill up a bowl. So we had people coming in from all over the floor, filling up.
Flex.
But I will say recently, guys, I've gotten away from breakfast. I read like a year ago that Derrick Henry doesn't eat anything until 5 p.m. every day. And I'm like, oh, well, it's working for Derrick Henry. Of course, that'll work for me. Now, I'm not waiting until 5 p.m., but I've become kind of an anti-breakfast guy. But I will say, when I make an exception, it's going to be a breakfast burrito. That is number one on my list, and it's got to have the side of the crispy diced potatoes.
Yeah, I could have answered that because Nick Whalen, especially this time of year, he's going golfing in Wisconsin a lot. He needs something he can grab on the go. The burrito's the easiest on the go, out on the course. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Lower carb, you can mix in more New Glarus spotted cows. By the way, we need to work out some sort of trade. We need to trade. New Glarus spotted cow is by far the best beer I've ever had in my life. I had it one time. It was in 2010. I had 2 of them, and I still remember how good the beer was. It's only available in Wisconsin. People have gotten arrested trying to drive it from Wisconsin to other parts of the country. Mm-hmm. All right. That's all the food and beverage talk we have for today.
Well, I got more questions about that.
Oh, do you? Okay.
How do you get arrested?
because they try to sell it at a different bar in a different state, and it's not legal to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're allowed to go to Wisconsin, purchase some of your own, and drive it to your house.
Greg Peterson does it.
Yeah.
Although these days, Greg Peterson might be running to Wisconsin and running it back. So, anyway, Nick Whalen's our guest, RotoWire senior analyst at Whalen on X, where you can find him. Let's talk a little NBA, my friend. Kelley and I were just having a discussion, and I don't know if it's bettable anymore, but NBA Rookie of the Year coming off the Summer League. Is it too big of an overreaction? Caleb Wilson, with his performance for the Bulls, going from around 10, 9-1, all the way down to 5-1 to win this award.
I think it's probably a little bit of an overreaction, but it's the only data sample that we have, right? Yes. And obviously Caleb Wilson, I think relative to expectations, has probably been the most impressive of all the rookies. But Cameron Boozer, for the most part, has looked exactly like we expected. AJ DeBonta was great in his 2 games, great enough that the Wizards shut him down prior to last night. And I think Darren Peterson, even though he hasn't been quite as good in Vegas as he was in Utah, we've kind of seen everything that we need to see. But with Wilson, I think the idea was, okay, if this really hits, he's absolutely as good as the 3 players who went ahead of him. But I think we thought there would be a little bit longer of a timeline. We had no idea that he was going to be this comfortable shooting threes, especially off the dribble. Right. I mean, that's been by far the biggest takeaway. Nothing he's doing defensively is really all that surprising. But I think the adjustment that we've seen from Caleb Wilson is an adjustment to realizing that, okay, he's a little bit further along than we thought he would be at this stage offensively. And look, there's going to be some opportunity in Chicago. It's a better Bulls roster than we've seen in years past, but I think he still has a chance to operate as maybe the number 2 option, if you will, on a starting 5 that's pretty loaded. And it's a unique Rookie of the Year race, guys, because I would say, probably the 2 most overall talented players in this class, the number 1 and number 2 pick, they're in non-traditional situations where, yes, they're going to teams that were bad last season, but teams that were worse than they probably should have been. And in the case of the Wizards, a team that has added 2 big-time pieces in Trae Young and Anthony Davis. So obviously Peterson and DeBonta are going to play big roles, but they're not walking in as just hey, here's the keys to the car. You're the guy. Go take as many shots as you want, which you often see with the number 1 or number 2 picks.
Yeah, Nick, I think perfectly said. Hey, Wilson, I think, has been the headline for me so far of the Summer League, but a lot of it just because we didn't see him, right? He was hurt. You really didn't know how he was going to stack up with the rest of these guys. So I think that's been the headline. And the rookies obviously have been the big story out of Summer League. Is there anything else? I know you've got games. We've got games later today. I don't think you have any bets yet, but check VSiN.com later today. Nick might have some stuff up there. Anything else team-wise or any other players that have really jumped out to you from Summer League?
Yeah, we'll have some plays coming for today's slate, like you said. So check VSiN.com later. But yeah, I think it's almost more interesting to focus outside of the top 4 or 5 picks. Everybody's talking about those guys. Everybody's seeing the highlights. But I think Malik Thomas for the Cavaliers, who is a high 2nd round pick, he has been probably the story to me from Summer League. He's played 3 games. He scored 20, 30, and 35 points in those 3 games. So he's averaging just a shade under 30 on 50% shooting. He's taken like 8 threes a game. He's shooting almost 50%. 50% from beyond the arc. The question with him is there actually going to be opportunity in Cleveland? Does this actually equate to anything tangible in year 1? Probably not, but he has played well enough that I think it's attention grabbing, and you kind of wonder, okay, can they find some minutes for him on what's a pretty loaded team? The other guy that's really stood out, guys, is Kaman Malawach, who you'll remember was the number 10 overall pick in 2025. Didn't really play much as a rookie. Looked incredible the other night against my Milwaukee Bucks, who have been horrible so far in Vegas. But through 3 games, Kaman Malawach sitting at 18.5 points, 12 rebounds, 2.3 blocks, 1.3 steals, and he's hit 6 threes. Which we kind of knew was a part of the profile, but it was always we'll see. I know he took a few at Duke, but the stroke looks really good. And this is a Phoenix team that, they have Mark Williams, but they didn't really want to play him more than 24, 25 minutes per game last year. I think Malawach, among these non-star players at Summer League, is somebody who could actually make a big impact this season.
Progressive Guest Line brings you Nick Whalen, RotoWire senior analyst at Whalen on X. Also the co-host of Prop Points, coming up right after us at 1 p.m. Eastern here on VSiN. NBA win totals, they dropped yesterday over at DraftKings. The range is 60.5 at the top with the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Brooklyn Nets bringing up the rear at 19 and a hook. That's actually moved from 18.5 to 19.5, and the juice is on the over. A lot of different rules now coming in this year as far as tanking is concerned, which has boosted and also dropped some of these teams in terms of their win-loss over the last few years. How do you think that impacts things, and is there anyone that really jumped out to you with their win total?
Yeah, it is going to be really, really interesting because I think you have some teams who would be obviously positioned to tank under the previous rules. Milwaukee probably at the top of that list, but all of a sudden now it's like, okay, you don't want to have a bottom 3 record. You want to be in that next zone. And I think that is a really interesting point to look at when you're talking win totals, because I think there were always 2 or 3 teams in the past where you'd see the number at somewhere between, 18.5 and 22.5. And you're like, I think that could be a 15-win team. That could be a 16-win team, but there's no motivation to truly bottom out in the ways that teams specifically have over the last couple of years. So I think looking at some of those teams at the bottom and leaning over, I think does make some sense. Although, if we're assuming that every team in the NBA is now trying harder than they ever have, I still think it's going to be tough for, those really, really, truly bad teams to emerge from the basement, right? Because everybody is going to try to stay out of that range. And, if you're the Milwaukee Bucks and you're maybe the least talented team in the Eastern Conference, you're not getting any freebies, in the way that you were in the past. So you can kind of talk yourself in circles on those bad teams. But, one win total that jumped out to me, guys, was Cleveland at 48.5. And I have no idea where LeBron is going to sign. There are still plenty of tea leaves that would suggest Cleveland could be the spot. Whether they have LeBron or not, I think it's fair to doubt whether this team can actually make the finals. I think James Harden still being on the roster is a pretty big impetus, but I think Cleveland is constructed to be a very, very good regular season team. I think they're probably the deepest team in the Eastern Conference. Say what we will about Harden in the playoffs. He's an excellent regular season player. He plays a ton of games. Same goes for Donovan Mitchell. Same goes for Evan Mobley. So that was one of the early overs I was looking at Cleveland at 48.5.
I love to hear that. I'm on Cleveland to win the title already at 40-1 from a couple weeks ago, hoping LeBron would wind up there. He is Nick Whalen. You can catch him right after us on Prop Points alongside Jeff Erickson here on VSiN and at Whalen on X. Appreciate the time as always, my friend. The stash is looking tremendous. Have a great show later.
We're doing what we can. We're doing what we can, man. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Nick.
Every time I talk to Nick, I want to make a reference that nobody's going to get, and that is, Nicholas, you're so strong. It's from Nick Swardson's stand-up act from like 2003 on Comedy Central.
Yeah, it's a little specific. Yep.
But it's just like every time I say the word Nick, I want to call him Nicholas, and I want to do his grandma's voice of Nick Swartzen. So, for the 3 people out there who might have gotten that reference, thank you for making me feel good. You also want to make me feel good, go check out the NFL betting guide. Say you like my write-up on Brock Purdy to be MVP. It's out right now. Get it today with our football special for just $175. Full previews of every team, early best bets, props, and futures. Just go to VSiN.com/subscribe right now for more information.